Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star Part 195 based on novel. So let's start. Lin Shin's sudden appearance and almost instantaneous magic made the snake spear demon god jump in fright as well. However, as the demon god that ranked 15th, he had great confidence in his own strength. Even though he had already used his demon god transformation, he had never been using his full strength in the battle before. The blue stream of light created by the revolution of the dragon and phoenix from Lin Shin did not leak with any energy. It only felt like a stream of fire. It definitely would be powerful, but Eligos did not believe just a stream of fire could take his life. And he was on very good terms with the demon god of emotion and sound demon god. The two demon gods were not skilled in close combat. Only when they worked together did they have confidence against Kia. Once something happened to him, they would definitely suffer, so he believed the two demon gods would definitely assist him. The 6 snake heads on his back emerged at the same time. Combined with the snake spear in Eligos' hand, they immediately turned into 7 blurs before him. But it was also at this moment that Kia's flourishing lotus flower had arrived. The lotus had appeared at an extremely clever time. It just happened to explode between the 7 snake heads. This was Kia's domain technique. Kia had already demonstrated the power of the flourishing lotus flower the first time she had used it. It was so powerful that all of the higher-ups from the assassin temple paled in shock. Now that it targeted a single opponent, its might was able to be completely unleashed. Countless white petals immediately erupted, sticking to all 7 snake heads. Eligos only felt an indescribable burning sensation cover his body. As he howled out, the 7 snake heads immediately exploded. A ball of purplish-red blood immediately expanded as a ring of light in the same color, in attempt to purge the lotus power of purification. But it was also at this moment that Lin Shin's attack arrived. Sytry and Belef did want to assist Eligos, but they were in no shape to. The array formed from the 12 holy guards made the speed at which the aura of death in the air was purified increase drastically. The sickle of the god of death immediately used the 6th art of the god of death, Death in Journey. Death in Journey was a fusion of the first 5 arts. Now that it was used with Kia's full strength, it was so fast and so terrifying that even the demon god of death Samijina in the past had to dodge it. Sytry and Belef did not even have the time to use the demon god transformation. They could only block it with everything they had. Their own lives would always be more important than others. They were in no state to care about Eligos. They had never thought that Kia's full strength would be so terrifying. Eligos' lockdown on information influenced the battlefield once more. They did not know that Samijina had died to see Aya, or why would they hold back on their demon god transformation the entire time? Boom! The dragon's roar and Phoenix's cry erupted at the same time. Only when Eligos was struck by the huge stream of blue first did he realize just how unbelievably wrong he was. The attack was so terrifying that it completely exceeded his understanding of fire. The flames of terrifying heat also possesses the great power of light. The explosive power of the attack was so terrifying that even if he was in his peak condition, he would not have been able to stop it, let alone now when he was under attack from the flourishing lotus flower. Under the intense burning, Eligos' 6 snake heads basically exploded at the same time. The thick, purplish-red blood attempted to form a protective barrier to keep his life intact. Unfortunately, he had realized too late. If he had used the demonic collapse technique to cut the losses a second earlier, he still might have had the chance to protect his life. However, when he was completely struck by the attack, he could not use the power of the demon god pillar anymore. In the moment after the 6 snake heads were destroyed, the foul snake blood immediately vanished under the purification of the heart of flames and the glorious praise, while Eligos was completely swallowed up and immediately vaporized. Even his demon god crown had lost the ability to flee within the terrifying blue flames, ending up in Lin Shin's hands with the return of the fire phoenix. However, it clearly was not easy for Lin Shin to launch that attack. His face became frighteningly pale, while he tottered in the air, almost falling out of the sky. However, he had finally achieved his objective. They had finally killed a demon god on the battlefield, and one that ranked as high as 15. To the other side, the angel demon god Paimon, who had been abandoned by Lin Xin, responded and rushed over here with a flash. He tried to kill the weakened Lin Xin. However, Lin Xin quickly tossed a few pills into his mouth and his body lit up once again. The sun over his head let out a dragon's roar and a huge dragon head emerged once again. A phoenix's cry rang out from Lin Xin's chest. Paimon was a demon god that ranked within the top 10, but he knew himself that his cultivation was not much higher than Eligos. If Eligos had been slain instantly, so was he supposed to fare any better in an open confrontation? Paimon immediately came to a halt. He stopped in the air, immediately turning his offensive magic he had been preparing to defensive magic. He was afraid of being slain by Lin Xin's full strength. Lin Xin chuckled instead. The dragon's roar and phoenix's cry remained, but he did nothing. In reality, how was it possible for him to launch 2 consecutive attacks? The dragon came from his domain technique, the sacred sun dragon. It was boosted with the light element from his glorious holy fire's praise, so its power was self-evident. And, with Lin Xin's ingenuity, he merged his domain technique with the power of the spiritual stove of blue fire phoenix, which led to a boost of several times over. However, Lin Xin was only able to develop this overpowering attack when his control over magic was strong enough, when he was indulging in his fantasies and when he had the support of the 2 immortal-grade equipment. It was also an attack that had basically drained all of his strength. Lin Xin's technique was called the Fire God Pillar of Dragons and Phoenixes. It was the most terrifying technique he could use so far. The attack was so terrifying that it could even rival Kia's death in Journey. It even surpassed the death in Journey in certain aspects. This was why he was able to kill the snake spear demon god Eligos, who ranked 15th in a single stroke. It was impossible for Paimon to be deterred by Lin Xin forever. In just a few seconds, he understood that he had been fooled. However, it was already too late for him to go on the offense again, because Sytry and Beleth were both requesting for urgent assistance. Kia's attacks were like a storm. Beleth had already been slashed by her sickle, which drastically lowered his defense as blood sprayed everywhere. While the deaths on this battlefield were not as great as the southeastern fort from before, everyone gathered here were the powerhouses of the humans and demons. The souls they emitted upon death were stronger than regular people as well. As a result, Kia had also absorbed a tremendous amount of power of purification. Under her full-strength attacks, what Sytry and Beleth suffered over the most was the fact that they could not use the demon god transformation in time. Beleth's left arm had been slashed by the sickle. The terrifying power from the power of purification invaded the wound at a visible rate, immediately eating away to the bone, before spreading upwards at an astonishing rate. Beleth really was a demon god after all. In the face of life and death, he cut his losses. His weapon was a harp, so he quickly dislodged a string and forcefully amputated his arm. Only then did he stop the spread of the power of purification. However, the influence on his battle prowess after losing an arm was obvious. Sytry and Beleth ranked extremely high. One was 13th, while the other was 12th. If they died as well and Caia was able to free herself up, it would be devastating to the battlefield. Caught between a rock and a hard place, Paimon wanted to kill Lin Xin very much, but he could not make it. With no other choice, he could only quickly undergo the demon god transformation, and then attack Kia. Kia was not greedy. She suddenly pulled back with her attacks and the Tower of Eternity emerged quickly at the same time, enveloping and sealing up all 3 demon gods forcefully. She rapidly absorbed the power of purification under the protection of the 12 holy guards to make up for her consumption earlier. She had already become greatly familiar with using the Tower of Eternity to deal up opponents. In just a short period of time, her teamwork with Lin Xin had finished off a demon god. Kia extended her thumb at Lin Xin, while Lin Xin responded with a raised thumb with his left hand, before quickly leaving the battlefield and returning to the dragon-resisting mountain pass to reorganize himself. With his pills and his domain-wielding strength, he would be able to recover his peak condition before long. Once he could share the burden with Kia again, the situation would be completely different. Kia did not keep the 3 demon gods trapped for too long. The Tower of Eternity shone brightly and with another flash of silver light, a figure appeared beside Kia. She was Wang Yuanyuan. Wang Yuanyuan's opponent before was the force demon god Barbatos. Barbatos was powerful and he had been maneuvering his way around as he fought Wang Yuanyuan. As he did that, he had already killed a Golden Foundation Knight and 6 Mithril Foundation Knights. While Wang Yuanyuan found utterly irritating, there was nothing she could do. Whenever she would almost catch up to her opponent, Barbatos' attacks would always be able to force her back. The demon god who ranked 8th really did possess surprising strength. Just when Barbato sensed Wang Yuanyuan's aura decline and had prepared an attack, there was a sudden flash of silver light and Wang Yuanyuan vanished. He had noticed when Eligos was killed earlier, but his battlefield was slightly further away from where Kia was, which made it impossible for him to save Eligos in time. Now that Wang Yuanyuan had vanished as well, he did not become stunned like Paimon. Instead, he directly looked over to Kia's side. He just happened to see the Tower of Eternity expand and Wang Yuanyuan appeared beside Kia, which the duo then vanished into the Tower of Eternity. The 12 holy guards vanished with them as well. The wonders of the Tower of Eternity were not just limited to attacking and sealing. Demon gods were unable to access their demon god pillars within the Tower of Eternity as well. In the past, Longhauchen had used his method to kill the demon god of clear vision Crocell. Now, Kia achieved it with even more familiarity. When Barbato saw Wang Yuanyuan and Kia vanish together, he immediately sensed that it was bad. Beleth was already injured, while he and the demon god of emotion Sytry had yet to undergo their demon god transformations as well, which affected their strength heavily. While the angel demon god Paimon had a very strong cultivation, ranked 9th among the demon gods, he was similar to Sytry and Beleth in that he was skilled in magic and not close combat. On the other hand, Kia and Wang Yuanyuan were both close combat powerhouses. In particular, Kia was as fast as lightning and they were also in her territory. Coupled with the support of the 12 holy guards, it was evident what would happen to the 3 trapped demon gods. If Kia succeeded and killed the 9th, 12th and 13th demon gods, that would affect the entire battlefield. There were only 20 demon gods present in total and they would have slain 4 of them that ranked higher up. Barbatos understood he could no longer afford to hold back anymore. He was the royal servant of the demon god emperor, so the demon god emperors will had always been his command. At this moment, he did not attack anyone else. Instead, he quickly flew up higher to undergo his demon god transformation. A huge figure of light appeared behind Barbatos. It was a huge lion, but the lion had a total of 3 heads. The center was a lion's head, the head to the left belonged to a panther, while the one to the right was a tiger's head. The 3 heads roared out at the same time and the force demon god Barbatos fused into the huge figure. The light subsided and he became clad in magnificent armor. The armor shone with a dark golden gleam. The most eye-catching part of the armor were the panther's head, lion's head and tyr's head on his chest. Barbatos slowly drew the bow in his hand. His terrifying power immediately rose to the limit as the 3 heads on his chest turned into 3 long arrows, all shining with intense, dark golden light. His target was the Tower of Eternity. It was also at this moment that there was a sudden whistle in the air. Barbatos' heart shivered instinctively, but he could not stop at that moment, or everything would have gone to waste. Barbatos let out a furious roar. The figure from earlier appeared once more. At the same time, his body forcefully shifted to over 300 meters away and his demon god pillar in the distance emitted a heavy rumble. A streak of 7-colored light immediately shot by. It missed Barbatos. The attack came from Yi Sanmi, who also wielded a bow. At the same time, Barbatos released his finger and 3 dark golden arrows shot towards the Tower of Eternity. The 3 arrows conjured a panther's head, a lion's head and a tiger's head respectively as they sailed through the air. When they landed on the Tower of Eternity, the heads had all grown to 10 meters wide. With 3 heavy booms, the Tower of Eternity was forcefully knocked into the air. As it shone with white light, a large series of cracks actually appeared to one side. Even though the cracks healed themselves rapidly, there was dark golden light in the cracks that prevented them from closing up as well. The Barbatos drew his bow once more. With a flash, Kia, Wang Yuanyuan and the 3 demon gods appeared outside at the same time. Barbatos had managed to save them in time. Kia and Wang Yuanyuan combined with the 12 holy guards definitely possessed an upper hand over the demon god of emotion and sound demon god who had yet to undergo their demon god transformations. However, time did not permit them to kill the 3 demon gods. The Tower of Eternity was facing an emergency. The Tower of Eternity was the only thing that the holy necromancer, slumbering calamity Eligos had left for Kia. Of course she would not let it be destroyed. Moreover, the Tower of Eternity contained the 12 holy guards. If it really was destroyed, the 12 holy guards would all perish as well. With no other choice, Kia could only transport everyone outside. Sytry and Beleth dared not to waste any time at all. They immediately completed their demon god transformations and also caught their breaths. They launched attacks at Kia simultaneously under Payman's lead. Wang Yuanyuan and Kia looked at each other. With a flash, Wang Yuanyuan lunged towards Barbato's once more. The blood-red light in her eyes became particularly dense. Out of the 2 battle tactics, one had succeeded, while the other had failed. However, they did manage to kill a demon god. After a momentary rest, Lin Xin had also stepped on the battlefield once more. He directly appeared behind Wang Yuanyuan, forming the optimum combination of a warrior and a mage. They fought against Barbatos together. When the bright glimmer of hope took action, the eternal heroes and the powerhouses of the various temples all erupted with their full strength. The demon god emperor's demon god pillar had suddenly vanished. Anybody could guess that the demon god emperor had used his demon god transformation and was borrowing the power of his demon god pillar to fend off Long Haochen, so they obviously swelled with confidence, while the might of the demons was heavily affected. The balanced situation became much more intense with the eruption of strength from the powerhouses of the Temple Union. Just as Cai used both her battle tactics, the demons had lost 5 devil dragons, 2 moon demons and a star demon, while the humans lost 4 eternal heroes. Not only did the eternal heroes play a decisive role in this battlefield, they lead the human powerhouses whenever they charged as well. The eternal heroes would always be able to free up themselves whenever other powerhouses of the Temple Union were in danger. They would even extinguish their soul fires as a consequence to block their enemies' attacks. However, they did not die for nothing. Basically every eternal hero would pull a 9th step opponent down with them. Less than a half of the 1008th step demon powerhouses remained. There were only around 400 of them. However, the magic cannons on the side of the humans weakened drastically as well. Having been overloaded, over a third of them had their firing chambers destroyed, while the human powerhouses controlling the cannons never seemed to consider that overloading the magic cannons would threaten themselves. There was a 6th step knight who fired a magic cannon at full force and blasted an 8th step demon to death. The magic cannon overheated, so the knight actually clad himself with spiritual energy and lunged at the cannon while telling his companions to continue firing. He clutched the barrel of the cannon, using his own spiritual energy to cool it off. In the end, he was charred to death on the magic cannon, but the magic cannon was able to fire once again. Perhaps due to the sacrifice of their companion, the new gunner had just as accurate, killing another 8th step demon powerhouse. It was also at this moment that the magic cannon finally gave way to the heat and pressure and exploded loudly. As a great hole was created in the thick walls of the dragon-resisting mountain pass, a total of 6 brave knights died as well, including the gunner and the people who were about to replace him. They used their lives and their spirit as knights to valiantly protect the honor of the dragon-resisting mountain pass and the future of the humans. They were all true heroes. This basically happened in every gunport that held a magic cannon on the wall. The more powerful the magic crystal was, the more likely the magic cannon would blow its chamber after consecutive firing. The ultimate magic cannon powered by Samigina's demon god crown was affected by this in particular. Although it did not blow its chamber due to the precious materials it was built FR90M, the surroundings would become incomparably hot when it fired. It also required someone to aim with the cannon in order to achieve maximum damage. The magic cannon had already been fired a total of 4 times. In order to increase accuracy, it required 4 human powerhouses controlling it each time, with at least a mage among them. Perhaps the gunners had no idea about the consequences when they fired it the first time, but what about the other 3 times? Before the second round of gunners approached this magic cannons, They took off their clothes with composure, bit their thumbs and wrote a few words on them, before passing it to their brother below to give it to their families. Their letters written in blood were very simple. The main gunner wrote, "My dear wife, tell our son that his father's firing cannons and doing good for humanity." The mage wrote, "Donate all of my assets to the mage temple." The two secondary gunners wrote, "I love you, my dear daughter, and child, your father's a hero." After leaving behind these letters, the four of them proceeded to fire the cannon without any hesitation. The magic cannon blasted once more and killed off a devil dragon, while the four heroes were sacrificed in the process as well. Their deaths were no different from the eternal heroes and ninth-step powerhouses that fell in battle outside. A notion of strength did not exist between heroes. They knew it would cost them their lives, yet they still proceeded without hesitation. Every single powerhouse of the Temple Union had used their blood and final portion of energy to fight for the survival of humanity. Their deaths weighed as heavy as mountains. After this battle that would determine the survival of humans, the Battle of Dragon-resisting Mountain Pass would exceed the battles of the Southeastern Fort and Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass in importance. It would be renamed as the Heroes Mountain Pass. At the same time, the three forts would all erect plaques of heroes, and sing praises among these heroes who had offered up their precious lives for the future of humanity. Hiss! An ear-piercing sound rang out from a corner of the battlefield and a huge figure suddenly turned in the air, before colliding against the ground below. A dark green figure pursued like a spectre. Due to moving too quickly, he seemed completely like a blur. However, when he fell downwards, a series of cracks appeared in the space behind him. The falling figure in the air happened to be Simon's Yarn, while the one pursuing him was the 10th demon god, the lightning demon god Bure. There was an astonishing wound stretching from Simon's Yarn's left shoulder to his right hip. His head army had almost been cut through all the way, revealing traces of blood. And his aura seemed extremely weak. His original bold aura had completely vanished. Only his bald head continued to shine. Although he had been cut down by the lightning demon god Bure, he still clutched onto the chain of the gigantic ball of lightning tightly. He was just about to hit the ground. The Bure and Simon's Yarn had already been locked in battle for a long time. Simon's Yarn used the power of the spiritual stove of godly purple thunder to cover himself with lightning, barely blocking Bure's attacks. However, Bure was known among the demons for his attack. He really was stronger than Symaxian. Among the demon gods, the Bure and Eligos were on extremely good terms. They could be described as best of friends. This was Bure's domain, the Sealbreaker domain. It displayed all of its powers in destruction. It boosted his sharpness. Not only did his domain make his attacks incredibly powerful, it could also cut through the domains of his opponent. It could be described as an extremely special but terrifyingly powerful domain. Since he could rank within the top 10 demon gods, how was it possible for his cultivation to be weak? Eligos' death had completely infuriated Bure. He was about to make Simon's Yarn become the first to die under the attack of his domain. After he killed Simon's Yarn, he would go avenge Eligos. Without a doubt, Simon's Yarn was currently in extreme danger as he was targeted by a fatal, full-powered attack from the 10th demon god. However, if Bure was familiar with the Bright Glimmer of Hope, he should have known that the members of the Bright Glimmer of Hope were always highly coordinated with one another. However, why didn't CAI use the domain of Instant Flash while Simon's Yarn was under such danger? And why didn't the soul-sharing chains come into effect when he received the attack earlier? Unfortunately, Bure was unfamiliar with these facts. This was the first time he had encountered a member of the Bright Glimmer of Hope on the battlefield. Simon's Yarn was not flustered at all. He clutched the gigantic ball of lightning firmly as he fell through the air. In just around 5 seconds, he had struck the ground heavily. Due to his personal weight and the gigantic ball of lightning, as well as the force from Bure's attack earlier, he was actually completely embedded in the ground, while Bure's blades descended from the sky with the power of his domain. With a strange, green light, they slashed towards Simon's Yarn, about to cut him to pieces. Just as Simon's Yarn was about to perish under Bure's attack, a strange sight suddenly appeared. White light suddenly appeared on Simon's Yarn's chest. The image of a white angel appeared silently on his armor. The beautiful angel face was clearly ridden with tears, as her clear eyes seemed to be filled with endless sadness. In the moment after the angel had appeared, a figure silently appeared before Simon's yarn. A huge shield just happened to block the lightning demon god descending from above. Clang, clang. With two explosive sounds, the figure that had suddenly appeared was directly set flying by Bure under the combined effects of his domain and his demon god transformation. However, the figure had also managed to save Simon's yarn. When Bure knocked his opponent away, he himself rebounded slightly as well. He was unable to attack Simon's yarn immediately. And, when Bure slashed the shield earlier, he saw two strange images. One of them was the same as the Angel of Sadness on Simon's yarn's chest, while the other was a terrifying fiend. The two images both appeared on the shield. They each took up half of the shield, constructing a strange image of that was half white and half black. When he sent the shield-wielding knight flying, Bure clearly saw the image of the fiend blur and a figure seemed to emerge from the shield and land on him. When he had launched his attack with his full strength, he was unable to pull back or dodge, which was why he could only endure the invasion of the figure while slashing his opponents, despite sensing something was amiss. What was happening? Bure circulated his spiritual energy rapidly in surprise, in attempt to purge the enemy's power from his body. However, he immediately realized all of this was pointless, because nothing had invaded his body. It was also at this moment that Simon's yarn freed himself from the ground and climbed to his feet. He seemed to be in a rather sorry shape, all disheveled, but when he looked at Bure, he smirked. He said something to Bure that Bure did not understand. This is a battle between an angel and a fiend. When he said that, the angel of his chest suddenly became exceedingly bright. The sad angel seemed to come alive. It was also at this moment that an image had appeared on Bure's chest as well. It was the terrifying devil from the knight's shield earlier. In the next moment, Bure and Simon's yarn became drawn together like the two poles of a magnet. A great pulling force immediately dragged them towards each other. The power was so great that it exceeded both of their cultivations. Oh no! Bure had already determined something was amiss, but even when he had undergone the demon god transformation, he was actually unable to break free from this pulling force. He could only watch as he collided towards Simon's yarn. Simon's yarn's body began to swell crazily in that moment. In the blink of an eye, he became 100 meters tall as he shone with dense, golden light. Without a doubt, the person who had helped Simon's yarn block the fatal attack was Han Yu. After blocking the attack, he did not continue fighting with Simon's yarn. Instead, he immediately returned to his original battlefield, keeping his previous opponent busy. The lightning demon god did not know what the opponent's technique was, but in that moment, he became uneasy for some reason. Unknown situations were the most terrifying. However, as a demon god and one that ranked 10th, Bure obviously would not show any weakness at a critical moment like now. He did not try to dodge. He confronted it openly. He might not have been able to unleash his speed, but he still had his terrifying attacks. Raising his blade-like limbs, he unleashed his domain once more. There was a flash of dark, green light and he directly swung them towards Simon's yarn's heart. Bure understood now that Simon's yarn had not actually been using his full strength earlier. At least, he had not used this domain. However, no matter how powerful Simon's yarn's domain was, it would be completely useless Bure's own domain. Enlarging his body would not reduce the damage. Even if he managed to pull off his scheme and restrict Bure's speed, he would still die before a powerful attack. At most, he would be able to attack his opponent once before dying. However, Bure was confident he could block Simon's yarn's attack under his demon god transformation. The two figures of opposite sizes collided together. Standing 100 meters tall, it was impossible for Simon's yarn to be as agile as Bure. Bure's mantis blades did end up landing on his chest first. A disdainful coldness flashed through Bure's eyes. Let alone this baldy, even existences on the level of the moon demon god and star demon god would die if his two limbs powered by his domain managed to land. Only the demon god emperor might have been able to block it. Could Simon's yarn block Bure's domain? Of course not. Using both the demon god transformation and his domain, the 10th demon god that was known for his strength could rank within the top 3 in terms of offensive ability. However, there was a huge prerequisite to all this. In order to unleash such offensive power, his domain had to be in use. The pair of mantis blades strengthened with the Sealbreaker domain seemed to be less than an inch away from Simazyan's chest. It had completely penetrated the power of light around Simazyan, and Simazyan's muscles experienced intense pain as well. It was also at this critical moment that a sight that was strange to Bure but wondrous to Simazyan occurred. The terrifying demon on Bure's chest and the sad angel on Simazyan's chest lit up at the same time. When they lit up, the terrifying fiend produced a soundless scream, while 2 droplets of tears rolled out from the sad angel's eyes. The 2 droplets of tears were translucent, as if they were the most pure substance in the world. This video will end here.